need to be laying down, but I'm gonna make this. Oh, peace to all. With gratitude to the all. I need to be resting, but at the moment, when I'm called to deliver a message, I'm gonna deliver the message. That being said, I'm gonna position you here. We're gonna talk about some things. Give honor to the all, peace to all that will see this, all that is involved. I know this video is going to be very vital. Oh gosh, I could just feel the energy collectively. It's like, you know how you want to rest, but then there's so much going on in the world, so much collectively. This is gonna be very vital because I know how important these transits, just so much in the cosmos, globally, everything. There's so much happening. Give honor to Source. Give honor to all ancestors known and unknown, patriarchal, matriarchal. Gratitude to all the roles that have everything that have played a role to this very point. We all are healing. Everyone is playing their positions. Your role is so vital right now. My role is so vital right now. If you want to say this is for educational purposes, so be it. But it's also for divine intervention. Come along. Welcome. But let me start off by saying this, because I get a lot of insight, a lot of awareness that when I'm being nudged to share this with the collective, as we push forward into unity consciousness and become more aware of who we are mentally, spiritually, physically, as who we are having this human experience. But most importantly, this is going to be an interesting one. Mental health is going to be, as I said before, if you do know some of my videos, mental health is definitely going to be the focus for a lot, especially like identity crisis. Yeah. So the thing about a lot of this is a lot of us are coming to the awareness like our first bullies, our first everything. Like I kind of always express this to people. Our first everything, who we are, what we learn, was from our the parents that was given to us, the guardians. Whether you had parents, whether you had people that played a vital role into your life. Our first abusers, our first love, in a sense. The first things that we learn to value. The first things that we learn to embrace, to appreciate. Things that, you know, what we learned. My first bullies. Yeah. I was sitting here pondering on something, a video came across, and I was like, Spirit, I have to share my analysis or input. I have to share my message because this is bigger than me. This goes past, you know, the fact of just what I'm here to do and how I know the influence, that how you can inspire people. I don't say these things to be liked, to be loved. If it resonates, it resonates. Um, one could be open to receive, one could perceive it however way they feel like. But to my message is that my first bully was my grandmother. Yes. Um, and another bully I had was my mother. And when I use the term bully, those of you that don't know, it's someone who's, you can say, controlling, manipulative, in many ways, however you want to perceive it. Trying to control the outcome, trying to dictate your life. It's almost in the sense of what you see with capitalism. It's like you're seeing how the powers that were, or used to be, the abuse of power now is weakening or has already weakened due to, the abuse of power again. And so now this energy is countered to where we're being forced to go inward, to look at ourselves, to see the depths of our soul, our inner worlds, our everything that can no longer be hidden. That's what I love about this Aquarian age, man. It's like I always say I heard someone say, what isn't acknowledged will someday fight. Ooh, I can position. Yes. What isn't acknowledged will someday fight to be. What isn't acknowledged will someday fight to. No, what isn't. What is it? What isn't. What isn't acknowledged. What's hidden will someday fight to be acknowledged. There we go. That's the one. So, where I'm getting at is this. It's not about pointing the finger. It's about acknowledging how my patterns, how generational patterns, how childhood patterns, behaviors, if you want to title them curses or whatever, have followed us through generations, stopped with us, being acknowledged and released with us, to bring forth now more of a healthy, aware, higher vibration beings, or kids, children, however you want to perceive it. So going back to what I was saying, like our first bullies, our first our first physical abusers, verbal abusers, were our so-called parents, or those who had who represented the matriarchal and patriarchal. So the thing that I am expressing to you about why this is so vital is that we don't address the elephant in the room, or acknowledge get to the root of why the fruit is rotten. Then how can we prosper and become more prosperous? Because if something may seem like we're not prospering, or even to hear the verbal abuse, which one is so important, is that if you grow up in a household or an environment, or even governmental structures, the schools, everything, where you're numbered or you're classified as this, and placed in these environments where it's desensitizing who you are and belittling and devaluing who you are as a human being, and or a sovereign being, or more so just your birthright of just living in happiness and peace and harmony. So think about how since birth, a lot of us have experienced these abandonment issues, the losses, and more so, what's the other one? Abandonment, the losses, and betrayals. A lot of it ties into why the 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 coming forth of the verbal abuse, because a lot of these things, what was not acknowledged in the household. So this is why a lot of us resentment can be created, where we're feeling forced. We don't want to be around the parents, or no longer resonate with the families or people that we grew up with, no longer we're creating our own tribe or clan, to where we want to live a more holistic, healthy, vibrant life, abundant, prosperous life, because a lot of things had to stop with us. So that's one thing I realized even in my past, like how the behaviors, the bullying, the verbal, the wanting to be acknowledged, accepted, so much of external things, because the generation prior to us, we didn't really feel safe with. You know, yeah, a lot of us, or some of us, may have been in homes, and this is how I look at it. Just if you look at even the different neighborhoods, it's like it don't matter if you go across the tracks and you see people that may look like me or other people. I still know people who dealt with verbal abuse in their homes, or if they didn't live up to this certain status quo, or be what their parents called them to be. And a lot of that was a form of bullying. If they didn't do this, they didn't do that, then what? What are the consequences? There's the law of attraction, or the universal law is whatever you put out, it's going to come back to you. So this is where I feel like a lot of people have when it comes to the abandonment issues, the emotional attachment to what has happened to them in their childhood. And it takes a lot of strength, even myself as representing a patriarch, or as a man, to this is going to be very vital for a lot of us, especially a lot of melanated men who have experiences, and women, but most importantly, everyone's important, it's vital, but men especially, like for me, who have grown up in homes where you've heard like certain things like you're lazy, you're stupid, or you're not gonna be shit, or just certain little things that, again, it's like planting a seed inside of your mind. Imagine your mind being a garden, and planting that seed, planting that seed in your mind that has this soil, and you're hearing the people who say they love you, who are supposed to protect you from this world, who is to keep you safe. And if they're saying one thing, then contradicting themselves with not even living up to their own standards. Because truthfully, if you look at America, a lot of things is that, what standard are they living up to? What really is the American dream? Are they living the American dream? Are you even fulfilling your own dream? Whose dream are you fulfilling? So, and that's why getting to the point of how growing up in homes where if due to the programming and condition of what our previous guardians or parents were conditioned by, that is the blueprint or the ideology that is given to us. And if that isn't fulfilled as a man, as a melanated man, as a dark man in America for them, then not to mention whatever the pain or mentally, physically, spiritually that they've experienced with men, or especially, you're still viewed through that lens. So automatically, let's say if a woman never seen a healthy or a man that lived holistically, or a man that is whole within himself, or knows that he is connected to something beyond what is on the physical, and then how can we expect these people that were parents or anyone to see us as such? Some people don't even see past their circumstances. And so if I'm starting at the age of 3, 4, or 5, people that, not all, but go through or experience so much of a survival mentality, or some people going through seeing their mom or grandmother. A lot of people grow up and struggle. And so immediately there's a survival instinct to where somebody has to be the one to get us out of this. But not to mention, due to the pain and agony and a lot of things that they face, they project their fears onto the kids. So growing up in certain homes, the verbal abuse has way more effect, I feel, than not only just the physical abuse. Because those words are like spells, or those words are like water droplets, or those words are like seeds planted. Not to mention societal standards, where people have just took on this idea of like what a man is and how a man should be. More focused externally and have all this material things, and just forget about his own well-being. Basically saying, no, you really don't matter. Just you're supposed to go out there and work, build, do all these things. But what about the essence of who I am and who you are? Deep down, the inner child, or the person that's crying out for that same acceptance, but also being rejected by the ones who say they love you. So you go out there looking, seeking for this love, or more so this safe haven, this security, whether it be you as a woman or man going to look for this in different individuals. So the root of a lot of what the traumas and the healing that is happening globally is a lot of it starts in the home. This is why a lot of family dynamics, a lot of marriages, a lot of stuff is being broken apart, because it's not built upon truth. It's not love, because a lot of which people think that they have been running from is they haven't actually sat down with it. They've evaded it, or they avoided it from being in so much of trying to live up to mom and dad standards. And it takes a lot for a man mentally, a man that isn't giving so much of a silver spoon. It takes a lot for a man mentally, especially a man here on this land in America, or whatever you want to call it, to get out of that depressed place from so much of suppressed emotions, not to mention trying to battle the war in his mind and not more focus on walking outside of the door. You know, the paranoid, the paranormal, or just of being ostracized, attacked, seen as an angry, or, you know, someone who's just simply here to destroy. And we grew up in homes where, let's say some of us didn't grow up in places where we were elevated or spoken to in a way to where we can believe in our dreams. We know that we're valued, we're appreciated, we're accepted. A lot of people grew up in places where they felt that they were just tolerated. It wasn't embraced, because the people and the parents that they were with, they weren't embraced. They were never truly loved. So again, so this has led a lot of people into these teenage, or whatever the age you want to call it. A lot of people now, 30s, 40s, and 50s, are realizing, like, yeah, your first abuser, your first teacher was your parent, your guardian. And yes, your behaviors, your stuff that you learned actually came from them. So who are you really? So this is why the identity crisis, the mental health, the emotional health, the spiritual health, is all connected to the physical well-being and health of who we are. Yep. So it's about acknowledging now. This is a moment to heal. You're going to come on this channel. This is about healing yourself. You know, you come over here, we're healing. I'm pushing holistic, because this is the beauty of it, is like what it is now. It's nothing to, the world is changing. We're evolving right now. And this is why you're seeing so much of how the elders are here to remind us of our purpose. No matter, they represent the negative aspect, but it's not so much of bad. It's they play a key component into the positive, like a battery. So they're reminders of why we should now want so much in need to be in homes where there's peace, there's harmony, whether we want to live off the grid in another country, basically do the simple things, travel the road of least resistance, and go places and do things, relocate, do the very things that, again, they were afraid of, but their fear was just motivation for who we are. Their abuse was just motivation to why we should love and embrace ourselves, and to push the narrative of healthy, holistic, harmonious music, elevating, loving ourselves. Of course, the people are going to try to talk shit and ridicule you, because how dare you love yourself? Why not? Why shouldn't you? But it doesn't matter, because a lot of us are now aligning, and it feels so beautiful, because a lot of people are afraid to do what you do. A lot of people are afraid to do what I do. I step out in faith. I'm not the only one that step out in faith and no longer wanted to be a part of, dysfunction and disrespect. The the not living in balance. All of this shit is aligned, is purposeful. So why wouldn't I use my platform to speak water, to speak to your spirit, to speak love, to speak, use this platform as a man, or as a, that represents the patriarch, or that honors the feminine principle, because I knew what it was to see the painful and the hurt and the wounded feminine, to now, in the past, to now, to project. And when I mean project, as in speak into existence, or the future, the reality that I desire to create, to open my heart to align with women who are holistically aligned with love, with bliss, with harmony, with abundance, to create clans and tribes of people who are aligned with that. Yes, that all this shit is possible. And this is because of the inner work. I had to realize, like, wow, like, my first bully, and it's not to blame or to fault them. It's just, it takes a lot to acknowledge these things and want to change. And with that change, and when you evolve, it comes with so much resistance from people who are not in alignment with wanting to release the old narrative of trying to work, and they don't know what it is to be an entrepreneur, or be in alignment with doing what you love to do when no one sees the vision. When looking past how, you no longer you want to put down and release those curses, instead of pick up, the same habits of other people to try to fit in. But it takes a lot of courage to be authentic, to live in your truth. To not be on a platform where you're trying to convince people to live, to be like you. No, be you. But what is being you? Is being you not trying to be the little boy and the little girl since you were younger, because mom and dad didn't get to fulfill their purpose? So they try to control your whole life. You should go here, you should go there, you should do this, you should do that. Throwing up in your face about what they've done, how they done it, how much they sacrificed, and, which only teaches you that, well, you're not a burden. That's why I want to tell you. To others, it may seem you're a burden. You are not a burden. You have never been a burden. The only people who have feeling you've been a burden is because they don't know how to unpack their shit. The burdens that they carry. They carry their mothers and great-grandmothers and fathers and great-grandfathers' burdens. It stops with you, because you are the one who chooses to unpack the burdens of the past. And once you unpack it, you'll realize, like, there are gifts when you unpack it. In these dark places, in this pain, you'll realize there are gifts. How could I change? How could I motivate? How could I inspire from the fact of, like, man, these burdens that, it's like you're actually putting down your bags for once. You actually, like, release your mother's and father's burdens. They're not yours. They're not yours. Release them. Love on yourself. You're amazing. You're an amazing human being. You are amazing spirit, soul, having this human experience. You are amazing. You are made in the image of the Creator. You are a divine spark. You are loved. You are love in universal particles. Over 20 generations, there were over 1 million ancestors connected to you. Starting with you, your two parents, and so forth. That's amazing. So, It's okay to acknowledge. It's okay to cry. Men and women, it's okay to step away from that connection, or, knowing that the person that you connected with are carrying other people's burdens, but they're not your burdens. It's not your karma, Two-Face. We're coming into divine unions and connections where it's not going to be so much focus on material. Now, material is a part of the physical, but the spiritual aspect of knowing that you are whole within yourself, you both decide to heal together, to acknowledge your own everything first. And so it's a beauty. It's a cycle. We're all on different levels. We're all at different places. But your calling is going to keep calling. When are you going to decide to pick up? So just know that it's challenging, but it's so worth it. Many won't understand and overstand, but just know that you are uniquely you for a reason. You chose this, or did it choose you? Take care of yourself for you. This lifetime we came to take care of ourselves mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. It all connects to the physical. And a lot of that is not going to look normal to a lot of people. But what is normal? Take care of yourself. Peace and blessings to all. Shalom.